Sitting, I can see your belly. And that was right over there at the back of the room. These people down here, you know.
Sorry, I'm waiting for the punchline. Go on. No, seriously, go on.
Okay.
No, go on. You can see my belly, and we can all see you dying right now. Let's go for it. Here we go.
You know that moment when someone acts nice for years, then suddenly gets exposed and everything clicks at once? Yeah, that kind of switch hits hard. Now imagine that feeling on a bigger scale, mixed with fake laughs, awkward performances, and pure celebrity ego. That's James Corden's downfall. This wasn't about one bad joke or a clip taken the wrong way. For years, the same stories kept coming out behind the scenes. Different people, same message. He's difficult, but on screen, he played the cheerful host everyone thought was genuine. When it finally unraveled, it wasn't smooth at all. It looked messy, like his own ego pushed everything over, and somehow others got blamed too. That's why people didn't feel bad watching it happen. To get it, you have to go back to when he was actually liked. It sounds strange now, but it's true. In 2007, he co-created Gavin and Stacey with Ruth Jones, and it blew up across the UK. The show felt real, funny, and easy to connect with. His character Smithy was loud and immature, but still likable enough that audiences loved him. He went from unknown to everywhere almost overnight. That was the moment that could have defined his whole career, if he stayed grounded. But people around him say that success changed him fast. The charm that got him there didn't stick around. Co-stars later said his attitude shifted quickly. Rob Brydon even pulled him aside to tell him to chill. And it wasn't just work. His own sisters warned him not to turn into that guy. When your own family is already checking your ego before you've even hit your peak, that's not random, that's a warning. But instead of pulling back, James reportedly leaned into it even harder. After Gavin and Stacey, he chased that success fast, jumping into sketch shows and movie roles, trying to turn momentum into something bigger. The problem? A lot of it flopped, badly. Horn and Corden got torn apart by critics, and lesbian vampire killers quickly became the kind of movie people laughed at online. And the reviews weren't just negative, they were brutal. But instead of stepping back, James got defensive. In his eyes, critics weren't just doing their job, they were against him. Failures weren't lessons, they were someone else's fault. And that mindset started sticking to his reputation everywhere he went. Then came a moment that would have humbled most people. At the 2010 Glamour Awards, Patrick Stewart called him out on stage for acting distracted and unprofessional.
But I would pay to see Sir Patrick Stewart dying on stage any day, so.
And for the people that haven't seen my belly, is there anyone who hasn't got a... It's just there. Okay, can we get a taxi ready, please? The old man going home. Okay.
This wasn't some random comment online. This was a respected industry legend saying it in front of a live crowd. But James didn't take it lightly. Instead of brushing it off, he fired back and mocked Stewart right there on stage. That moment didn't end his career, but it showed exactly how he handled criticism. Then in 2014, CBS made a move that confused a lot of people. They gave The Late Late Show to James Corden. In the US, most viewers barely knew him. Craig Ferguson had just left, expectations were low, but CBS had one idea that changed everything. Carpool, karaoke, celebrities packed into a car, singing in traffic. It sounded simple, but it blew up online. At first it felt new, chaotic, and genuinely funny. Adele, Paul McCartney, Lady Gaga, huge names packed into one segment, and it blew up fast. The clips racked up billions of views, and suddenly James Corden was everywhere. Award shows, movies, Broadway, voice roles, his face was impossible to miss. In the US, the image worked perfectly. He wasn't edgy or risky, just the cheerful British guy getting celebrities to sing and laugh. It fit the polished, advertiser-friendly late-night vibe exactly right. But while viewers saw a fun, harmless host on screen, people behind the scenes started noticing something else.
Sorry, I'm waiting for the punchline. Go on. No, seriously, go on.
Okay.
No, go on. You can see my belly, and we can all see you dying right now. Let's go for it. Here we go.
Crew members talked quietly. Writers whispered. Staff picked up on patterns. How he spoke to people, how his tone shifted when cameras stopped, how quickly his mood changed when things didn't go his way. Then came a moment on Jimmy Kimmel Live that made people pause. He got asked a simple question. Name 2 of your camera operators. These were people he worked with every day, the same crew helping run his show, and he couldn't name a single one. Not even one.
2 of the cameramen in this room. It's a different crew tonight, actually.
The room went awkward fast. Jimmy tried to laugh it off, but James froze, and the silence said everything. It wasn't just about forgetting names, it was what it suggested. It made people question how much attention he gave to anyone who wasn't part of the spotlight. After that, the cracks started showing quicker. In 2017, right after the Harvey Weinstein scandal broke, James went on stage and made jokes about it. The reaction? Immediate and bad. The crowd didn't laugh, and online it got even worse. Actress Rose McGowan called him out publicly, echoing what some insiders had been saying for years. The criticism painted him as tone-deaf and self-focused, completely missing the moment. Then came another risky move, a Reddit AMA, and it turned into a mess fast. Comment after comment poured in from people claiming they'd met him, waiters, crew, assistants, writers, even random strangers, all sharing stories about their experiences. A lot of those stories sounded way too similar to ignore. People kept describing the same kind of behavior, entitled, dismissive, and just straight up rude for no reason. One comment nailed the whole vibe with a harsh label, a massively entitled nightmare. James only answered a few safe questions before disappearing, but by then, the damage was already done. At that point, the internet wasn't asking if he had a reputation problem anymore. The question changed. How did he keep the nice guy image going for so long, and things didn't calm down from there? They got worse.
Here in LA, it's so beautiful. Harvey Weinstein has already asked tonight up to his hotel to give him a massage. I don't know whether that groan was that you like that joke or you don't like that joke. If you don't like that joke, you should probably leave now. It has been weird this week though, hasn't it? Watching Harvey Weinstein in hot water. Ask any of the women who watched him take a bath. It's weird watching Harvey Weinstein in hot water. Harvey Weinstein wanted to come tonight, but he'll settle for whatever potted plant is closest.
This wasn't one huge scandal that flipped everything overnight. It was more like constant pressure, story after story stacking up. Once people felt confident speaking out, it all poured in at once. Different voices, same experiences, and together it created a picture that was hard to ignore. Then you have Cats, and there's no way around it. You can't talk about his reputation without bringing that up. The movie didn't just flop, it became famous for how strange it was. James played Bustopher Jones, a CGI cat with weird human-like hands, and the internet turned it into instant meme material. The film became a joke almost overnight. Critics destroyed it, audiences walked out, and memes were everywhere. But instead of laughing it off, he pulled back from it, something people were starting to notice as a pattern. Later, he even admitted he never watched the final version. Think about that, being part of a massive movie and not even watching it while still trying to be taken seriously. That didn't sit right with a lot of people. The movie alone didn't end his career, but it added to a growing pattern people couldn't ignore. When things went right, James was front and center, loving every second of attention. But when something failed, he seemed to pull back fast and leave the situation behind. That pattern started standing out more and more. Then came the prom, and this time the backlash felt different. James, a straight actor, played a very over-the-top gay character, and a lot of critics said it leaned hard into outdated stereotypes. Some LGBTQ+ viewers felt the portrayal was exaggerated and didn't reflect reality. The criticism spread quickly online, but instead of really listening, James pushed back and suggested people were being too sensitive and missing the joke. And once again, people noticed the same reaction. When criticism showed up, empathy didn't always follow. But the moment that truly locked in his villain image didn't happen on a set or stage, it happened in a restaurant in 2022. The owner of Balthazar in New York didn't stay quiet. He publicly banned James Corden. In a post that went viral, the owner called him the most abusive customer my staff has ever dealt with in 25 years. That line spread everywhere fast. Reports claimed James got extremely upset over his wife's omelet being made wrong, not once, but twice. According to multiple accounts, he began scolding staff, calling them incompetent, and creating a tense scene in the restaurant. For many people, this didn't sound like a simple bad day. It felt like something bigger, and what shocked people even more was the owner speaking out publicly, risking backlash just to defend his staff. That alone got people paying attention. James tried to defend himself, saying the story was exaggerated. He claimed he didn't yell and was just frustrated. But by then, it didn't really matter. The damage was already done. Because once that story hit, something bigger happened. More stories started popping up from everywhere. Flight attendants, hotel staff, TV crew, drivers, different places, different years, totally separate situations. But the details kept sounding the same. Some said he ignored people unless they were useful to the show. Others claimed he spoke sharply to workers just doing their jobs. A few described assistants being treated like background, not real team members. Even some directors called him one of the most difficult hosts they'd worked with.
Difficult and obnoxious presenter I've ever worked with is James Corden. I went along to Elstree and I sat in the darkness and kind of watched James on the set of League of Their Own rehearse. No audience. No other panel members, just him on his own. And he got he came to a point where he had to read from a card, and he had a card up like that. And he was reading from it. And it was kind of a joke in there. And he kind of just like, I remember, he just looked at it like, that's not funny. That's not funny. Like, what? He was like, that's shit. We have to rewrite that. We have to rewrite this. And I don't know, maybe he was having a bad day, I thought. And the writing's just not been up to scratch. But I definitely thought, man, somebody wrote that. Not nice.
Writers also mentioned issues behind the scenes, arguments over pay and credit for ideas. And just like that, the friendly image he built for years started breaking apart fast. Because this wasn't about one big scandal. It was the pattern that changed everything. Story after story lined up too closely. Once people connected the dots, it felt like the warning signs had always been there. Even Carpool Karaoke started to feel different. The same segment that once pulled billions of views didn't hit the same anymore. Guests seemed less excited, conversations felt more forced, and the natural fun started fading. That viral magic that once protected his image, it wasn't working anymore. And once that faded, people focused more on him instead of the concept. Ratings started dropping, clips didn't spread like before, and behind the scenes, something quiet but important was happening. Hollywood started stepping back. No big drama, no loud cancellations, just silence. And in that industry, silence says a lot. Then in April 2023, James announced he was leaving The Late Late Show. Publicly, it sounded simple. More time with family, a new chapter, a quieter life after years in late night. But a lot of people watching from the outside started reading between the lines. When a public image takes that many hits, stepping away doesn't always look like a simple choice. It can feel more like an exit at the perfect time. His final episode aired with big celebrity guests and plenty of smiles. On the surface, everything looked normal, but something felt off. Instead of a huge send-off, it almost felt like everyone was quietly ready to move on. And then came the detail that really stood out. CBS didn't replace him. No new host, no reboot, no attempt to keep the format alive. They just ended The Late Late Show completely. In Hollywood, that kind of silence speaks loud. When a host leaves and the entire show disappears with them, it says a lot about how the industry views what comes next. And that brings up the question people still argue about. Why did James Corden's downfall feel so satisfying to so many? For some, it felt familiar. Most people have met someone like that. The coworker who's friendly in public but different behind closed doors. The one who takes credit when things go right but shifts blame when they don't. So when the criticism finally reached a breaking point, it didn't feel shocking. It felt overdue. Like the image finally cracked, and once it did, it was hard to see him the same way again. Now the debate is still going. Was James Corden misunderstood, or was this always building behind the scenes? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to know where you stand on this. And if you're into deep dives on celebrity downfalls, industry drama, and internet chaos that nobody can outrun, hit subscribe and stick around. Because stories like this don't just end, they evolve, and the next one might be even crazier.